Hello everyone. I'm gonna give it a second to see if anyone logs on, but I am live. We are live. I am going to read again from another book, and I'm gonna share with you a little bit about self-image because I posted about self-image yesterday and today. So I'm gonna call this self-image week. So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds to see if anyone else joins. In the meantime, I am going to sit this here. Turn this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I want to read from one of my favorite books, which is Psycho-Cybernetics and Self-Fulfillment by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And in this book, he talks a lot about self-image. And yesterday I posted on self-image where I talked about, you know, that we usually see ourselves based on outside influences. And in the post, it had self-image in the middle. And then it had what 4 things influence our self-image. And they are social comparisons. We compare ourselves to other people, other people's images, what we think people think about us, how we think people view us, how we think people see us. Also cultural teachings, you know, what we've been taught, what we learned, what we, and the way we see ourselves based on that. And then also our personal interpretation, however way we interpret us. I had this thing where I shared in Inner Work University where I actually it was on a Inner Glow Confidence call a couple of weeks ago, where I said that I really had to get to a space in my life where I had to ask God to help me to heal my perception of myself, because the way I saw myself, the way I perceived myself was extremely distorted and not in alignment with my true self. And so as I started healing that, one of the things that started to become healed, and I'm still in the process of you know, undoing and relearning and deprogramming and all of that, was my self-image, how I saw myself. As a matter of fact, I had a coaching session today where I was being coached by someone. I am being coached by someone, and what came up was a way that I saw myself as a little girl that still is with me today. So I'm having to go back and heal that and learn that, unlearn that, that mindset that I had then that carried into the present time. So your self-image really does matter. I also posted today that how you see yourself determines how you show up. And however way you see yourself, if you see yourself as a winner, you're going to show up determined to win and destined to win. If you see yourself as defeated, if you see yourself as a failure, if you see yourself as anything less than, then you're going to have those, you're going to show up that way, but also you're going to have those experiences in your life. So your self-image really does matter. And so I wanted to come on today to read from this book. Again, it's Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Psycho-Cybernetics and Self-Fulfillment by Dr. or MD Maxwell Maltz. All right, so let's get into it. And this is on page 208, and the subtopic is self-image. Self-image. So this is a Q&A. So the question is, What do you consider man's most important asset? What do you consider man's most important asset? And he goes on to answer, his self-image. Your self-image is your most important asset. He says each of us has a mental picture or blueprint of himself. This blueprint determines how you act in your relationships with other people. To find life reasonably satisfying, you must have a self-image you can live with. You must have a self-image you can live with. Before you can find yourself acceptable to others, you must find yourself acceptable. How you see yourself is how you will show up. So, before you find yourself acceptable to others, you must find yourself acceptable. And I'm here to tell you that you are acceptable. One of my favorite lines from A Course in Miracles says, you are the work of God. God's work is wholly lovable and wholly loving. Holy, like nothing can be taken away from that, because you are whole. But you have to also see yourself in that way. And that's one of the things that when you have low self-worth and low self-esteem, you don't see yourself as acceptable. You don't see yourself as loving or lovable. But when you start to heal your perception of yourself and the way you see yourself and your self-image, then what's going to happen is you're going to begin to be more accepting and loving of yourself. So I'm going to read that one more time. Before you can find yourself acceptable to others, you must find yourself acceptable. You must believe in yourself. You must believe in yourself. Have confidence in who you are. Have confidence that you are acceptable. Have confidence that you are wholly lovable and wholly loving. Have confidence in your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. Have confidence in your capabilities and your abilities. Have confidence in who you are, period. He then says, when your self-image is confident, you express yourself and function at your best. But when this self-image brings you shame and fear of failure, you stifle creation, you stifle creative expression and walk away from reality and others and yourself into a dark tunnel in your troubled mind. I'm going to read that one more time because I actually thought I put a period on there in that. So let's read that one more time. When your self-image is confident, you express yourself and function at your best. When your self-image is confident, you express yourself and function at your best. But when this self-image brings you shame and fear of failure, you stifle creative expression and walk away from reality and others and yourself into a dark tunnel in your troubled mind. Hurt feelings and resentment follow. You then find it difficult to get along with others and with yourself. So it's interesting. He says that you then find it difficult to get along with others and with yourself. Have you ever thought about that? Like, do I get along with myself? We don't really think about really having a relationship with ourselves like that. Do you get along with yourself? If you get along with yourself, then you believe in yourself, you're confident, you talk kindly and lovingly to yourself, you are supporting of yourself, you are building yourself up, you're not tearing yourself down. But a lot of people, when you have a distorted perception of yourself, don't get along with themselves. When they have a distorted perception of themselves, they don't get along with themselves. They're constantly putting themselves down, constantly comparing themselves to others, constantly thinking that they are less than. And it shows up in every area of your life. So he goes on to say, our self-image is our key. If remembering the confidence of past success, we use it in our present goal, chances are good we will succeed. If, however, we fear making a mistake, remembering our past failures, we fail before we even start. The next question: can people really change? Can people really change? And the answer is this: they can, if they can change their self-image. If you want to change your life, change how you see yourself. We actually started this year in Inner Work University with a 12-week course called Your Best You. And in that, the first thing that we had to do was capture a picture of ourselves, how we see ourselves. Maybe not how you see yourself in this present moment, but how do you see yourself as your best you? And as you see yourself as your best you, we create a vision board or picture board, but we also use our words, we also use our beliefs. We use so many aspects of our lives to not only create that picture, but to hold that picture within our minds and within our hearts, so that by the end of those 12 weeks, if nothing else, the way you saw yourself was different. The way you saw yourself changed. And in addition to that, making progress into becoming that person. So they can change if they change their self-image. This is their greatest asset. We can all change for the better. And since most of us are in a habit of shortchanging ourselves because of our guilt feelings over some blunder of the past, we must remember that we are usually better than we think we are. We are usually better than we think we are. And we came into this world not to succeed, not to fail. We came into this world to succeed and not to fail. Here's the thing about that. So many people have been programmed to believe that they are failures, whether it was through, a teaching, whether it was through society, whether it was through, family member programming, some type of programming. People believe that. And because they believe that, then they really see themselves as failures. And as they see themselves as failures, guess what happens? They show up that way. And then they actually have situations and conditions where they create failure in their lives. But he also says, in the book he says, we must remember that we're usually better than we think we are. Better than we think we are. And we come into this world to succeed and not fail. We must have the desire to change. We must remember that one thing in common to all mankind is the desire to live, not just exist. Live and be happy. This is a common goal to all. If we remember this when we feel inadequate, and if we refuse to lose sight of the great goal, we then will refuse to let negative feelings sidetrack us from it. We must systematically remember that this self-image doesn't rule us, we rule it. Hello. We ruin the self-image that we rule the self-image that we have of ourselves. So I talked about how, it's social comparison, how it's other people's image that we feel like they have of us, but it's also, cultural teachings in our interpretation. We think that rules us, but actually we're the ones that rule it. And so we have to determine how we choose to see ourselves and not allow that to dictate how we see ourselves. Let's go on. We systematically recall a time in the past when we were successful and happy, and we systematically imagine we are that person now by concentrating on our past confidence in the present. So he's just saying that that's how you shift that. You look at the past successes, the past times that you were happy, and you bring that into the present moment, and and you concentrate on that, and that's what builds your present confidence in this moment. Every day in, you're making me blush. Every day is a day for improving your self-image. Every day is a day for improving your self-image. Every day is a day for improving your self-image. And he's going to give you a key in this that I want you to take with you away from this. Every day is a day to improve your self-image. This is your first daily goal of fulfillment. When you get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror, ask yourself who you want to be that day. Who you want to be that day. You must answer. If you saw yourself as unhappy, see yourself happy. Remember that no one can make you unhappy without your consent. Imagine yourself confident within your capabilities. Make the confidence you once had the confidence that belongs to you now. Use it and fight for it. There you go. So, the last question. How do I start to change? What is the first step? The answer. The first step is to realize that you can change for the better. How? You look in the mirror and you take stock of yourself. You say, who am I? Because I failed in some undertaking, am I therefore a failure? Or am I a person born to succeed when I use the confidence of some past success in my future undertaking? Who is the real me? Who is the real me? Am I afraid of making a mistake? Afraid of anything but afraid to be anything but perfect? Afraid to be anything but perfect. Okay, let me say this. Am I afraid of making a mistake? A lot of people are afraid of making a mistake. One of the things about your mistakes is this, that your mistakes are tools for mastery. What I mean by that is your mistakes are lessons for you to learn so that you can get it right the next time. They're not, your mistakes don't define you as a failure in life or in any way whatsoever. But you have to choose to learn a lesson from those mistakes. If you don't learn the lesson, then you pretty much stay stuck in that moment. And that's why a lot of people live in regret. One of the things about regret is regret causes us to feel guilty. One of the things about guilt is guilt seeks out punishment. So we're looking for ways. We punish ourselves because we have that regret and that guilt. And we do that by the people that we have in our lives, or we do that by, choosing not to go after the thing that we know is ours by divine right. So you have to get to a space where you forgive yourself for making mistakes, and you forgive yourself for the idea of being less than perfect, because you are already perfect. So, am I afraid of making a mistake? Afraid to be anything but perfect? Forgetting that there is no human being alive who is always perfect. And forgetting that I'm neither superior nor inferior. Who am I? Am I a mistake maker? Yes. Am I a mistake breaker? Yes. Success is not just being successful, but the capacity to rise above a blunder. Who are you? A person of frustration or a person of confidence? Both? Yes. Within the mirror of your hearts, of our hearts, are reflected the many people who we really are. But in essence, you are a combination of frustration and confidence. So, I'm going to go and skip a little bit. He says you are both frustration and confidence, but you can't be both at the same time. You have to decide which way you want to jump. You should jump on the side of confidence. You should make a habit. You should make a habit of it day in and day out. You live in the present goal. The more you concentrate on achieving your present goal through confidence, the less time you have to worry about failures of yesterday. So, that's that. Hey, Miss V. Hey, Mr. G. So that's that. That was it. That was the read today on self-image. And it's so important that we have, you know, a positive self-image of ourselves, because if we don't, like I said, it determines how you show up. And how you show up determines the feedback that you get, whether it is from other people, whether it's from, you know, conditions or situations. It determines the feedback that you get. If you go into something already feeling like you're a failure, then you're most likely not going to succeed. So you have to really get to a space where you can change your self-image. And like I said, for me, it was saying I need to heal my self-perception. And the more I started leaning into undoing what made me feel and think the way I thought and felt about myself, and the way I saw myself, and changing to my new ways of thinking and feeling about myself, it wasn't until that happened that I had to go back and like undo a whole lot of things. So how you see yourself really does matter. And we're actually going to dig deep into this in Inner Work University. We're going to start a new series called True You. And in that series, we're going to break this whole self-image thing down, because it really does matter. It really matters. But here's the thing, it begins from childhood until now. I talked about a few minutes ago, I had a coaching session, personal coaching session today, and some things that from childhood came up, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think that was a thing, but it's a thing for me that I have to work through and get over even now, and I will be 52 this year. So, you know, it just, the way we see ourselves really does matter, and it determines what we go after. It determines our level of success. It determines our level of failure even. It determines a lot. So that's all I wanted to share. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Thank you, Miss V. Thank you, Mr. G, for being here. I appreciate you both. The book that I was reading, Psycho-Cybernetics and Self-Fulfillment by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Psycho-Cybernetics and Self-Fulfillment by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And I was reading page 208 about self-image, because that's the theme this week. So with that, I want to invite you to join me tomorrow for my Inner Glow Confidence call, because I missed Friday. I'm doing 2 this week, so I usually have them every Friday, but I'm going to do 1 tomorrow, and I'm still going to do the 1 on Friday. But it's just something that I love doing. It's a free call, and just check out my page. I'm going to post about it. Oh, today is Tuesday, so I need to post today about tomorrow. But I appreciate you for stopping by, Miss V. And Miss V, we need to have a phone call. It's long overdue. I need to talk to you just to say hello and just to connect with you, because I appreciate you so much, and you are such an inspiration to me. Your style and everything you represent is just such an inspiration. So we need to connect, definitely. So that's all I have. Hopefully you'll join me tomorrow. Check my stories. I'm going to post it tonight, and I'm going to post it tonight in my stories, and I'm also going to post it tomorrow on my feed here on Instagram about the call. But join me tomorrow. It's a free call. It's just a conference call. It usually lasts about 30 minutes. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to dig a little bit more into this topic of self-image. And that's that. Also, if you are wanting to become a part of Inner Work University, www.innerwork.com, www.innerworku.com. You can log on there to get more information and to enroll. We're getting ready to start our New You course, and it's going to be so amazing. So with that, thank you. Have a great evening and an amazing week. Take care. Oh, what time? What time tomorrow? It's 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. 1 o'clock Central. Yeah, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. Thank you so much.